Well, hello. What is this treat? 2 videos in 1 week? Who even am I? I'm really not sure. Yeah, so for the month of February, I'm going to be doing 2 videos per week because I still want to keep doing what I did last month of a weekly upload on various topics. And then I'm going to do a salt tutorial video also later in the week this week. So this video is getting bumped up a little bit. So anyway, welcome to I'm on a couch where I sit upon this couch and give advice about things that you can take or put in a little trash can in your brain. So today's question from one of you guys is about balancing motherhood and your career. And I'm so emotional about it. I have some experience in that, and I'm just going to go ahead and read the question and then get into it. So first of all, I highly recommend doing this. She emailed the question to kikiqa@gmail.com as I requested, but she just started it off by saying hot priest. And I just want to say, I've gotten some comments and just DMs of people just being like, hot priest! And please keep doing that. Side note. So for her question, she said, I had my sweet little baby in October and went back to work this month. I hate it, I hate it, I hate it. I want to be with my daughter more than anything right now, but feel like I'd be letting my coworkers down if I quit. I also worry about my husband feeling extra pressure to work long hours and provide if I took time off work. He initially was planning on coasting this year, coasting had quotes, and coming home early to be with our daughter, but said if I stayed home, he wouldn't do that. We're doing fine financially and his company loves him, so I wish he wasn't worried. Anywho, my question is, how did you navigate working and being a new mom? Do you have any advice? Thank you for reading this far. If you need me, I'll be crying while pumping in the lactation room at work. And then she sent a follow-up that said, okay, sorry I'm being annoying. No, you're not. Oh my god, you're not being annoying. But I am really trying to work through this work or stay home shiz. I also worry that if I stay home, I'm not being a feminist, which I know isn't correct, but I just would feel so much guilt and maybe shame if that was what I chose. I'm an environmental scientist. Cool. And I guess my career got tied up with my ego and sense of worth. I do love what I do, but just not as much as I love spending time with my baby. Blah. Maybe I should find a therapist instead of emailing my favorite YouTuber. Okay, yes, we should all find therapists, but please feel free to email me about this. And she said, okay, for real now, I'll stop. This is so funny because I'm like, don't stop, you're fine. But also 100%, that's how I communicate when I'm asking things or reaching out or being vulnerable. So please don't feel the need to apologize, any of you guys, when you reach out to me about things, because okay. Is it cool if we just go through this kind of point by point? I'm saying, is as cool as if I can hear your responses, but I can't. Okay, so first of all, sorry, I'm a little bit emotional. Fuck. Okay, so, and there's your answer. Thanks for watching. Okay. So probably first things first, I want to give you the biggest, warmest hug in the universe. I had a really hard time after Caspian was born. Oh my god, this is so disgusting. I had a really hard time after Caspian was born. So I can't say that I figured it out and have a perfect answer for you, but there are a few things that I have learned. This is one of those situations where it's incredibly personal to each person. Personal to each person. It's almost like that's what personal means. It's just a very individual thing. Perfect example of that would be, I also have a really hard time with separation from Caspian. We're buddies and he started school this year and that has been amazing. But I took him to an aftercare program yesterday because I had a meeting right after I picked him up. They can do pickups, the aftercare program. But I was like, I feel like I have to go pick him up and take him to it because it's too long to go. And obviously sometimes I travel and sometimes he's with his dad. So it's not like I never go without him. But just picking him up from school, I've never had him be gone in a school day longer. So I took him to the aftercare program. And then when I picked him up from the aftercare program, he was the last kid to get picked up. And he was had so much fun while he was there, but he was hugging me for the rest of the night, and we both kind of feel like that. So That's my experience. But I also have a friend who, her reality is that she loves her kids, she loves spending time with them, and she feels fine if they go away for extended periods of time. So everybody is just totally different. There's so many factors that go into why, and none of it is the wrong thing or way to feel about parenthood. So I have some thoughts on a few things that were said in this, but the overall thing I think can be addressed in like the first thing she said, which was, I went back to work this month and I hate it. There you go. And she circles back at the end and says, I love what I do, but just not as much as I love spending time with my baby. Period. Obviously, everyone's situation is complicated. I don't know all the specifics of your life, but what I am learning more and more is that this life is incredibly short. And I personally don't have time for doing things that I don't want to do because of how other people might react to them. So one of the things about being a woman is that we have been socialized and trained for centuries to be breeders and nurturers, and that's not because that's what we're supposed to be doing. That's because that served men for us to fill that role. It's really helpful for men for us to keep producing a workforce for them. But the bottom line is, parenthood can be really fulfilling. I also know women who hate it and wish they hadn't done it. I know women who are cool with balancing it, and I know women who it brings them so much joy and they like it more than working. And I think part of being a feminist, a huge, fundamental, irreplaceable part of being a feminist is accepting whatever it is that women want to do and empowering them to do that. That doesn't mean pressuring people to not be stay-at-home moms just because that's the thing that society pressured us to do. Some people really like that the best, and that's O-fucking-K. I also don't like the idea that we have expiration dates, and just because you don't do something right now, you will never be able to do it. So one thing is true, and I'm gonna say something about what I say after I say it. Your kid is only the age they are while they are that age, and then that moment and that phase is gone. So just because you focus on your kid and experience that with them while it's happening doesn't mean you can't also have your career as they get older and are in a different stage. You don't have to do everything at once to do everything, and after you are older, your life doesn't end. You can actually still work and do things, and that's another thing society has been really frustrating about, which is making us think that if we haven't been in a 30 under 30 list, then it doesn't count. You're still alive and living your life the whole time that you're alive and living your life. So now about what I just said regarding your kid is only the age they are while they're that age. I want to be sensitive to the fact that that sort of line and mentality gets shoved down mothers' throats to try to force them to feel guilty about. If you feel the other way and you actually want to pursue your career, or you want to do something else in addition to motherhood, or you're having a really hard time with motherhood and people are like, just soak it up while you can, it's over like that. So I guess on the other side of this now, if you want to pursue something else besides motherhood at the same time, or you are struggling with postpartum depression or just finding motherhood really difficult, and somebody uses that line against you instead of for you to be like, oh, just savor it right now, absolutely punch them in the throat. No questions asked. That line is an instant throat punch if you are getting it in response to wanting something else or having a hard time. Basically, I'm anti-guilting women into anything. At this point, we have earned the right to do what makes us happy. And if what makes you happy is staying home with your baby, everyone who feels differently about what you should be doing can just... I'm trying not to swear and say inappropriate things because I learned that it's demonetizing all of my videos so no one sees them. And it is extremely hard. So they can all... I don't know if that helps. And this this goes in all these other areas too, where it's like people want to micromanage the way that women dress or wear makeup. If you wear a lot of makeup, that's not good. If you wear no makeup, that's not good. Leave them alone. Just leave it alone. And everyone just do whatever you want to do. And people that tell you not to do that, just throat punches, all of it. Because at the end of the day, it's just you. All of those people don't know you. And okay, here's the thing. I don't know how many of you know this. I haven't talked about it very much, but I was raised in a cult. And I did not leave that cult until into adulthood. So I spent a lot of time doing things that I didn't want to do because I felt like I had to or I was supposed to. It took a really long time for me to figure out that is absolute and utter bullshit, and that my life had been forced into facilitating ease in other people's, specifically white male lives. I'm turning 30 in September, and I've just really been struck lately by how in so many ways I feel like my life is just starting. I'm just barely getting to the point where I'm like, oh, maybe I don't care so much about that thing, and I'm just really feeling the sense of, oh, this is it. This right now, this is it. And if I'm not doing it, the things that I want to do and that I feel inspired to do, I'm not going to ever do them. You know, that's especially true in a situation where it's like your baby's your baby right now. I also want to say about that. So I had postpartum depression, and I also felt like torn between this sense of crushing strain and hurt and stress and loss of independence and loss of sense of self when my son was born, and also like if he was asleep in the bedroom and I was watching a movie down the hall in the living room, I was like, I miss him, like, is he okay, should I, you know? And so, you know, it's weird. Motherhood's really weird. And so it was sort of suffocating, but also like I only ever just wanted to be around him, but also I was like, oh my god. And I remember a big part of my mental anguish being like, you know, depending on your baby, but pretty much always having a new baby is really hard. You're in physical pain from pregnancy and childbirth, and it's full on, like they need a lot. You're not sleeping, everything's different, and it's just literally hard. Sometimes they cry a lot depending on what the universe decided to give you. I remember somebody saying to me like, oh, just appreciate this right now while it's just so much easier than when they're walking around and, you know, they can run everywhere. And you get a lot of comments like that. I think we should actually just instill a law that no one's allowed to say anything to new moms. But anyway, she was like, oh, it's so much easier now. And I was like, oh my god, what? Like, this is the easy part, because I'm dying. And to that, I would say everyone has amnesia, or is stupid, or is both, because every stage, or people will say this, every stage has hard things about it. Because I remember reaching out to friends after she said that and being like, is this the easy part? Really? And getting a mix of responses, but definitely a lot of people saying things like, well, every stage has things about it that are hard, and every stage has things about it that are good. And I was like, oh, okay, so it's just always some version of this level of what I'm feeling. And to those of you who are feeling like you are struggling in a really big way right now, it gets easier. Oh my god, it gets easier. Them getting older is easier. And in some ways, it's harder. Like, he argues with me now about things, his opinions about things now, but other shit gets way easier. If you're at a point where you are barely breathing, it gets easier than the barely breathing point. And part of that might be talking to your doctor, which you absolutely should talk to your doctor if you're feeling like that. I talked to my doctor. We worked some stuff out. I didn't have to go on any medication. I had some things happen situationally that improved it. But even just talking to her when she was like, how are you doing at my postpartum checkup, and being like, she was like, oh, okay, so here's the thing. You do need to eat food. You do need to eat food. So let's, figure out a support system. Talk to your doctor. Medication is okay. It incredibly life-changingly, life-savingly helps a lot of people. And you might not need it. You might need it. Either thing is cool. The overall theme of this video is everything is fine if it's the thing that helps you and that you want to do and helps you survive, because life is hard. I kind of feel like life is harder than it was supposed to be. Like maybe there was a glitch in the programming where they were like, okay, so this is life. This is the software, you go through it, you live your life, and then somebody like put the wrong thing in the code and just like increase the difficulty level to make it way too hard, and now it's just really intense. That's my theory about God being a video game programmer or something. It's fine. Life is hard, and we should all just be in pursuit of doing whatever thing we actually truly want to do, and defending that right for other people and uplifting people that have even less of a chance of doing that than we do because of whatever systemic thing is happening. Okay, I've gotten a little bit all over the place with this, which I was 100% sure I was going to do because there's so many things about this, and I'm going to get back on track. So the bottom line is, it sounds to me like that you would rather be spending this time with your daughter. That doesn't make you a bad feminist. That doesn't make you a bad wife. It doesn't make you a bad anything. It just makes you feeling the way that you feel. And I think that the sooner we do that, whatever that thing is that we want to do, the better. My mom told me a quote from Jack Canfield from the Chicken Soup for the Soul books a couple years ago, or actually, was it last year? Just before last year. So glad we cleared that up. That said, be honest faster. I might have mentioned this in a video at some point, but I was like, pew. Yes. Whether that's being honest with yourself, being honest with another person about what it is you want or what it is you need, just do it faster, because we're all wasting our own and everybody else's time by not. And like, what's the point? Truly, what's the point? Okay, so now moving into feeling like you're going to be letting your coworkers down if you quit, and feeling like you're going to be giving extra pressure to your husband. So, I have some opinions about marriage, and the dynamics within, often, that I am going to preface this with saying, I don't know your relationship, and you probably love your husband, and he could be a great husband, so I don't want my own sort of feelings about the institution overall to cause like a defensive reaction. But what I will say is that marriage really works well for men. They get a lot out of it, and women individually sometimes might. One thing that is tricky is understanding that sometimes standing up for our needs does cause tension with people in our lives. But I think it sounds like your husband's gonna be fine. So the quotes on the word coasting with your daughter being born while you are also, quote, crying while pumping in the lactation room at work. I'm probably a little triggered by this, but I don't know that he necessarily should be coasting while you are crying, pumping breast milk at work because you miss your child. It sounds like a conversation or a few is in order to just really communicate what your needs and what your wants are. So when I was going through my divorce, my therapist was amazing, and he told me something that I was like, huh. Very obvious and interesting. Never occurred to me before. He was like, a lot of women have kind of been trained to feel like their needs barely matter and probably don't, let alone their wants. But he's like, actually, your needs matter and your wants matter and deserve a platform to be communicated and heard by someone. And I was like, fascinating. What? Your need and or want to spend time with your child or do whatever it is you are wanting to do deserves and needs to be communicated to your partner and worked out from there. So I can't tell you how that will go or what will happen, but it sounds like you're in a good position to be able to do that. So talk about it. Talk about it. It's okay to talk about it. And your coworkers are definitely going to be fine. I'm sure you are an integral part of the team. And also, you do you, man. I think that's pretty much everything I had to say. Basically, life is short. Do what you want to do when you want to do it. And your needs and your wants matter. And you should communicate them to the people around you. And just be gentle with yourself, because you're doing a lot. You're an environmental scientist, and we can probably, for most of you watching, just sub out whatever your job title is and whatever these things are for whatever it is you're doing, because women are pretty amazing. You're an environmental scientist, and you're a mother, and you love your child, and I feel certain from the way that you sent this email that you give a lot to a lot of people, and you care for a lot of people, and just do that for you too. Anyway, thank you so much for watching this video, guys. Email your questions to kikiqa@gmail.com. I'm so excited about this series. I'm really enjoying doing these videos and appreciate your questions. Don't forget to like this video if you liked this video, and follow me on Snapchat, Instagram, and Twitter @KikiGMakeup. Subscribe to this channel, and if you so choose, you can mosey on over to our website, saltnewyork.com, because it's the pre-sale for the new mini palette that I feel weird promoting in this video. All right, have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you on Saturday for a tutorial using this little cute friend. Okay, bye.